Imagine this. Two people earn the same amount of money. They live in the same city. They work the same hours. Yet, one feels constantly broke, stressed, anxious, always behind. The other feels peaceful, secure, fulfilled, and free. What made the difference? It was not luck. It was not inheritance. It was not a big salary. It was how they spent their money. Because money is not just for buying things. It is a reflection of what we value, what we understand, and what we fear. Today on Bookverse, we explore the art of spending money. A book that reveals how simple choices can create a life that feels truly rich. If you are ready to stop chasing wealth and start living it, hit that subscribe button. Because we are about to uncover the mindset the rich live by, and the truth about spending that schools never teach. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Wealth. Most people think wealth is about earning more, but it is not. Real wealth begins when you stop spending to impress. When you stop chasing what others show. When you stop buying what you do not need. You think money will fix your pain. You think more will make you feel safe. But it never does. Because what you call wealth is often just noise. Look around. People are surrounded by things, yet feel empty. They chase the next phone, the next car, the next trip. Still, the same void remains. Because that is not wealth. That is distraction. True wealth is peace. Peace of mind. Peace of time. Peace from comparison. That is the freedom money was meant to buy. But here is the trap. The world sells you an illusion. It tells you that the more you buy, the more successful you are. It tells you that comfort equals status. That followers equal influence. That spending equals success. And you believe it. You scroll, you compare, you spend. You buy symbols, not solutions. You fill your home, but you empty your life. You decorate your cage, but you never feel free. That is the illusion of wealth. It looks like power. It feels like progress. But it is only debt, stress, and noise. You have seen it. The person with the latest car, yet crying inside. The person with the biggest house, yet feeling alone. The person who wears success, but cannot sleep at night. They are not rich. They are tired. The world trains you to spend for approval. It tells you that looking rich is being rich. But that is a lie. The truth is simple. Real wealth is not loud. It is calm. It is quiet. It is secure. Rich people buy freedom. Broke people buy image. You have a choice. That is the key. Every time you spend, you vote. You vote for what matters to you. You vote for peace, or for pressure. You vote for ego, or for freedom. You can buy what gives you joy, but not what gives you worth. Because worth cannot be bought. It is built. Ask yourself, why do I want this? Who am I trying to impress? Will this make my life better, or just louder? If the answer is peace, buy it. If the answer is pride, walk away. That is the rule. That is discipline. People often ask, how can I save when I earn less? The answer is not about more income. It is about more awareness. If you spend less than you earn, you win. If you spend more than you earn, you lose. No matter the salary. No matter the title. Wealth is not about numbers. It is about control. If your money controls you, you are poor. If you control your money, you are rich. You have seen people earning a lot, yet stressed every month. Why? Because their spending grows faster than their wisdom. They work more to pay for what never mattered. They climb a ladder leaning on the wrong wall. It is not about greed. It is about habit. They are trained to believe that more stuff means more success. They think things will prove their worth. But they only prove their fear. You do not need more. You need meaning. You do not need things. You need peace. Every item you buy has energy. It either feeds your peace or steals it. So before you buy, ask, does this serve my purpose? Does this move me forward or hold me back? This is not about guilt. It is about clarity. You are not supposed to live poor. You are supposed to live free. There is a difference. Freedom is not about owning nothing. It is about not being owned by anything. It is about choosing, not chasing. It is about control, not chaos. The illusion of wealth keeps you trapped. It says, one more thing and I will feel enough. But enough never comes. Because enough is not out there. It is inside. You can buy experiences. You can buy learning. You can invest in your mind. Those things grow you. They make you rich inside. And that wealth never fades. You have a choice. You can feed the illusion. Or you can build reality. You can buy applause. Or you can buy peace. That is the art of spending money. It is not about being cheap. It is about being conscious. It is about knowing what truly matters. Each time you spend, you send a message. You tell the world what you value. You tell your future who you are. Do not spend for ego. Spend for evolution. Stop buying comfort that costs your freedom. Stop chasing approval that costs your peace. That is how most people stay broke. They are rich in things, poor in self. You need to break the pattern. You need to think different. You need to act with awareness. Because every time you pause before spending, you build strength. Every time you walk away, you build control. Every time you save, you build freedom. That is real wealth. Not the car. Not the brand. Not the applause. But the calm inside your mind. So pause. Look around. Ask yourself, is this what I want? Or is this what I was told to want? That one question can change your life. That one pause can save your future. You have a choice. By noise or by peace. By image or by freedom. That is the illusion you must break. Remember this. Wealth is not what you show. It is what you protect. It is not about what people see. It is about what you feel when no one is watching. Do not chase luxury. Chase liberty. Do not chase fame. Chase freedom. Because that is what true wealth feels like. When you stop spending to impress, you start living to express. When you stop buying noise, you start building power. That is the truth the rich understand. That is the truth you must live by. You mastered awareness. Now, let us go deeper. Let us talk about your next step. Chapter 2, The Psychology of Spending. Why we buy what we buy. Every purchase is emotional. You think it is logic. You think it is reason. But it is not. Every time you buy something, you are buying a feeling. You buy hope. You buy comfort. You buy approval. You buy escape. You do not just buy the product. You buy the emotion attached to it. That is the truth. You walk into a store, and you think you are in control. But you are not. You are being guided. Every light, every color, every sound, is designed to make you spend. That is not an accident. That is psychology. Advertisers do not sell products. They sell emotion. They sell identity. They sell belonging. You do not buy shoes. You buy confidence. You do not buy perfume. You buy attention. You do not buy a car. You buy respect. That is the game. And most people never see it. They think they are choosing, but they are being chosen. The ad shows you a life. It says, if you buy this, you can be that. That is how they hook your mind. They do not sell reality. They sell desire. And you fall for it again and again. Because it feels good. Because it feels safe. Because it feels like progress. But here is the truth. Spending is not progress. It is programming. You have been trained since childhood. Every cartoon, every celebrity, every influencer, all plant the same message. If you buy more, you will be more. That is the lie. And it works. Because humans do not buy with reason. They buy with emotion, and then justify with logic. You tell yourself you need it. You say it is on sale. You say you earned it. But deep down, it is emotion running the show. You want to feel seen. You want to feel powerful. You want to feel enough. That is what you are really chasing. When you understand this, everything changes. Because awareness breaks control. You start to see through the illusion. You start to feel the pull before it owns you. That is freedom. Not from money. From manipulation. Companies spend billions to study you. They track your clicks. They measure your pauses. They know what makes you feel jealous. They know what makes you feel fear. They know how to trigger your emotion. They do not want your satisfaction. They want your attention. Because attention leads to desire. Desire leads to purchase. Purchase leads to profit. That is the loop. And it never ends, unless you end it. You have a choice. You can stay blind, or you can wake up. You can be a customer, or you can be a controller. That is the key. Here is what you must understand. There are 3 core emotions behind most spending. Fear, ego, escape. Let us break them down. Fear. You buy because you fear missing out. You fear being left behind. You fear looking less. So you spend to stay equal. But fear spending never ends. Because there is always something new to fear. Ego. You buy to prove something. You buy to show you made it. You buy to silence doubt. But that never works. Because ego is hungry. It never gets full. Escape. You buy to feel alive. You buy to distract from pain. You buy because you are bored. You think buying will fix the emptiness. But it never does. It only hides it for a moment. That is the pattern. That is the trap. Fear spending keeps you anxious. Ego spending keeps you trapped. Escape spending keeps you lost. And the advertisers know it. That is why they target emotion, not reason. They say, you deserve it. They say, everyone has one. They say, limited time only. It is all a game of emotion. You think you are spending money, but you are really spending emotion. You are trading peace for pleasure. You are trading freedom for a feeling. You can break that pattern. You can change the way you buy. How? By pausing. By asking 3 questions before every purchase. Question 1, do I need this, or do I want to feel better? Question 2, will this make me richer or emptier? Question 3, am I buying peace or buying pressure? If you answer honestly, you will see the truth. Most of what you buy is not for function. It is for feeling. It is for approval. That is the first step, awareness. When you see the trigger, you break the spell. You start spending from strength, not weakness. Here is what discipline looks like. When you feel the urge to buy, stop. Take a breath. Wait 1 day. If you still want it, and it serves your purpose, then buy it. If the feeling fades, walk away. That is control. That pause is power. That delay builds discipline. That discipline builds wealth. You cannot control every ad, but you can control your attention. You cannot stop the noise, but you can stop reacting. Remember this. Money flows where attention goes. If they control your attention, they control your wallet. If you control your attention, you control your life. That is awareness. That is mastery. You have to build a new habit. Every time you see an ad, say this in your mind, they are trying to sell me emotion. Because they are. That one sentence changes everything. It creates space between impulse and action. And in that space, you find freedom. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from emotion. Freedom from control. You do not need their permission to buy. You do not need their approval to feel enough. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are just waking up. That is growth. That is awareness. Here is a truth most never learn. Real power is not in earning more. It is in needing less. Because the less you need, the more control you have. The less you need, the harder you are to manipulate. And that is true freedom. They can tempt you. They can show you. But they cannot control you. Not when you see the game. You have a choice. Stay trapped in emotional spending, or rise above it. It is not about guilt. It is about growth. It is not about rejection. It is about redirection. Spend with awareness. Spend with purpose. Spend with power. Ask yourself before every swipe, is this choice building my freedom or breaking it? If the answer is freedom, you win. If the answer is fear, you lose. You have that control. You have that choice. That is the key. So start today. Watch your urges. Watch your triggers. When you feel the pull, pause. When you feel the pressure, breathe. When you feel the desire, delay. Those small pauses build big power. And that power is the foundation of wealth. You are not just managing money. You are mastering emotion. Because money follows emotion. If you master emotion, you master money. That is the real art of spending. It is not numbers. It is not status. It is psychology. You mastered awareness. You learned how emotion drives every purchase. Now, let us go deeper. Let us talk about how to control that emotion before it controls you. Chapter 3. The True Cost of Things. Price tags lie. They always lie. You see a number. You see a price. But that number is not the truth. The truth is deeper. The truth is heavier. Every dollar you spend costs something you cannot see. It costs time. It costs energy. It costs freedom. That is the real price. Money is not paper. Money is life energy. You trade hours of your life for every dollar you earn. And when you spend that dollar, you are spending your life. That is the part most people never see. They think they are buying things. But they are trading time. They are trading peace. You spend 8 hours at work just to buy a shirt you wear twice. You spend a week's salary just to sit in a car that loses value the moment you drive it. You give your life away, piece by piece, for things that do not matter. That is the hidden cost. That is the truth behind every price tag. You have to start asking, what is the real cost? Not in money, but in time. Because time is the only thing you cannot get back. Ask yourself, how many hours of my life is this worth? If your hour is worth $10, and the phone costs 1,000, that is 100 hours of your life. That is 12 full working days. Gone. Was it worth it? Most times, the answer is no. But no one asks. Because the world trains you to see only money. They never teach you to see time. They never teach you to see life energy. That is why people feel trapped. They keep chasing more money, while spending more life. Here is a truth. You are not broke because you earn little. You are broke because you spend blindly. That is the key. You buy what others tell you to buy. You follow the crowd. You do not calculate the true cost. You just react. You have been programmed to react. The sale pops up, you click. The ad appears, you swipe. The product arrives, you smile. But the real price shows later. In your stress. In your bills. In your time. The debt you carry is not just financial. It is emotional. It is mental. It is spiritual. Debt steals your peace. Debt steals your focus. Debt steals your freedom. That is the cost. So when you buy, ask yourself, what am I really trading? Am I trading hours or joy? Am I trading peace or pride? Am I trading my future for a moment of feeling good? That is awareness. That is mastery. Here is what most people never see. Every yes is a no to something else. When you say yes to buying something, you say no to freedom. When you say yes to temporary pleasure, you say no to future peace. That is how life works. You cannot buy everything. You must choose. And that choice defines your life. You have a choice. To spend with purpose, or spend from impulse. To buy with reason, or buy with emotion. That is the difference between the rich and the poor. The rich calculate. The poor react. The rich think in time. The poor think in money. The rich ask, how much life will this cost me? The poor ask, how much does it cost right now? That small shift changes everything. Let us make it simple. There are two kinds of spending. Value spending. And vanity spending. Value spending makes your life better. It gives you time. It gives you energy. It gives you peace. Vanity spending takes your time. It drains your energy. It adds noise, not value. When you spend on value, your life expands. When you spend on vanity, your life shrinks. That is the test. So before you buy anything, pause. Ask one question: will this make my life easier or heavier? If it adds weight, skip it. If it adds value, earn it. That pause saves you years of stress. That pause creates freedom. Every product has a hidden cost. A new phone? It costs you focus. A bigger house? It costs you time to maintain. A luxury car? It costs you peace when repairs come. Everything costs more than you see. Everything. Even free things are not free. Free apps take your attention. Free entertainment takes your time. Free validation takes your energy. Nothing is free. That is why awareness is power. Once you see the real cost, you start to choose differently. You buy less, but you live more. You chase less, but you enjoy more. You own less, but you feel rich. Because wealth is not about how much you own. It is about how much freedom you keep. That is the shift you must make. Stop asking, can I afford it? Start asking, is it worth my life? When you make that shift, you stop chasing. You stop comparing. You stop bleeding time into meaningless things. That is what real wealth looks like. Not more stuff, but more space. Not more spending, but more stillness. Here is the harsh truth. Every dollar you waste today is a dollar you will need tomorrow. Every minute you waste today is a minute you will wish for later. That is the real cost. You cannot get time back. Once it is gone, it is gone. You traded it for a phone, for a dress, for a gadget that will not matter in 6 months. That is why the poor stay poor. They buy symbols of wealth instead of sources of wealth. They buy image, not freedom. They buy distraction, not discipline. It is not about money. It is about mindset. It is about how you think before you spend. When you start to think in life hours, every purchase feels different. You hesitate. You calculate. You choose wisely. And that wisdom compounds. Because small choices build big results. Every small moment of restraint builds a future of freedom. You do not need to stop spending. You need to start spending consciously. Spend on growth. Spend on learning. Spend on health. Spend on peace. But stop spending to impress. Stop spending to escape. Stop spending to prove. That is the lesson. That is the key. It takes courage to live below your means. It takes strength to say no when everyone says yes. But that strength builds power. And that power buys freedom. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve peace and impulse. You must choose one. So choose peace. Choose purpose. Choose control. From this moment, look at every price tag differently. Do not ask, how much does this cost? Ask, how much life will this take from me? That is awareness. That is transformation. You are not just spending money. You are shaping your future. Every purchase tells your story. Every transaction defines your direction. You have a choice. You can live for approval. Or you can live for freedom. You cannot have both. The ones who build wealth think long-term. They think in years, not moments. They delay pleasure. They respect their time. They protect their energy. That is how they win. That is how they stay free. The true cost of things is never in dollars. It is always in life hours. It is always in peace. It is always in time. And once you see that truth, you can never unsee it. It changes how you live. It changes how you buy. It changes how you think. That is the real art of spending money. Not in getting more, but in losing less. You mastered awareness. You learned to see beyond the illusion of price. Now, it is time to take control of what happens next. Because understanding cost is not enough. You must learn how to protect your wealth from emotion. So let us go deeper. Let us build discipline. Let us build power. Chapter 4. By experiences, not status. Things fade. Always. No matter how expensive. No matter how shiny. No matter how rare. The shoes wear out. The phone becomes old. The car loses its smell. The watch becomes normal. You feel excited for a few days. Then your mind adapts. You start craving something new again. That is the trap. The endless chase for status. You think you are collecting success, but you are collecting dust. The truth is simple. Objects give you pleasure, but experiences give you meaning. That is the difference. You can buy a brand, but you cannot buy belonging. You can buy comfort, but you cannot buy connection. You can buy status, but you cannot buy self-worth. Every time you spend for attention, you pay with peace. You pay with your focus. You pay with your freedom. Look around. People are not living, they are showing. They eat for the photo. They travel for the post. They buy for validation. And still, they feel empty. That is because happiness is not created by what you own. It is created by what you live. You remember laughter, not luxury. You remember sunsets, not sneakers. You remember moments, not materials. That is why the richest people are not the ones with more things. They are the ones with more stories. The illusion of having more. We are trained to believe that buying more means living better. It starts early. You see ads. You see influencers. You see success being sold as a lifestyle. You start thinking, if I get that, I will feel better. If I wear that, people will respect me. If I buy that, I will finally belong. But here is the truth, you will not. Because status is a drug. It fades fast. And you will always need more to feel the same. The moment you link happiness to things, you become a slave to them. You stop living by your values. You start living by their labels. That is not freedom. That is addiction. You do not need more things. You need more life. You need more truth. You need more moments that move your soul. That is the shift. That is where peace begins. The power of experiences. Think about the best days of your life. What do you remember? It is not what you bought. It is what you felt. It is who you were with. It is what you discovered. Maybe it was a trip. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was a challenge that changed you. Those moments built you. They shaped you. They reminded you who you are. You grow through experiences. You evolve through experiences. You expand through experiences. When you invest in experiences, you invest in the only thing that grows with time, memory. A new car drops in value the moment you drive it. But a trip with someone you love becomes more valuable every time you remember it. You see, things fade. Experiences multiply. That is the secret. That is what most people miss. The currency of connection. Money can buy attention, but it cannot buy affection. When you spend on experiences, you build connection. You build stories. You build shared meaning. That is what makes life full. That is what keeps you human. A dinner with someone who listens will give you more peace than a dinner plate that shines. A walk in the rain with someone you love will give you more joy than a branded gift ever will. Because emotions outlive objects. Connection outlasts possessions. Every time you choose experience over status, you choose connection over competition. You choose life over illusion. That is power. That is wealth. Why experiences make you happier? Science agrees. When you buy things, happiness fades fast. When you buy experiences, happiness grows stronger. Why? Because things isolate you. Experiences include you. You enjoy things alone. But you share experiences. You talk about them. You relive them. You connect through them. Even years later, those memories still give joy. They remind you that you lived. They remind you that you felt alive. That is what happiness truly is, aliveness. Not comfort. Not luxury. Not labels. Just being awake to life. When you buy experiences, you buy growth. You buy learning. You buy perspective. That is the true investment. That is how you build a life, not just a lifestyle. Freedom from the status trap. Status is noise. Experiences are silence. When you buy things, you are trying to impress others. When you buy experiences, you are trying to understand yourself. Which one do you think lasts longer? The moment you stop caring about how it looks and start caring about how it feels. You start living. You stop comparing. You stop competing. You start creating. That is freedom. You will realize that happiness is not in the brand. It is in the breath you take when you are truly there. It is in the eyes of the person next to you. It is in the laughter that needs no camera. You will stop chasing moments to post. You will start creating moments to live. That is when peace finds you. That is when you become rich, for real. What you can do now. So here is your task. Start tracking your spending differently. Ask this before you buy anything. Will this become a story or storage? If it is storage, skip it. If it is story, take it. Spend on experiences that build you. Take that trip. Join that course. Meet that friend. Learn that skill. Try that challenge. Do it because it adds to your life, not your image. You do not need to prove you are living. You just need to live. Because the truth is, no one remembers your clothes, but they will remember how they felt when you were around. That is what lasts. That is what matters. Stop collecting things. Start collecting moments. Start collecting growth. Start collecting peace. You do not need status. You need substance. You do not need more. You need meaning. That is the key. The closing truth. Things fade. Experiences stay. Status dies. Memories grow. Spend your life creating what time cannot destroy. Spend your energy on what stays when everything else leaves. You have a choice. You can keep chasing the illusion of more, or you can start building the truth of enough. The richest people are not the ones who have everything. They are the ones who feel everything. And that begins when you choose to buy experiences, not status. You learned how to see true value. You learned how to measure cost in time, not money. Now, let us move deeper. Because knowing what to buy is not enough. You must also learn how to let go of what no longer serves you. Let us move to the next truth. Chapter 5. The Minimalist's Secret. Less is not deprivation. It is liberation. Minimalism is not about living with nothing. It is about living with enough. Enough space. Enough peace. Enough purpose. You see, the modern world is full of noise. Full of things you do not need. Full of choices that drain your focus. Full of distractions that steal your peace. You think you own things. But most of the time, things own you. They take your energy. They take your time. They take your mental clarity. That is the hidden cost. And that is why most people feel heavy. Your home is full. Your mind is crowded. Your days are cluttered. Your focus is split. You keep chasing more. More clothes. More gadgets. More goals. More approval. But you forget the truth. More is not always better. Sometimes, more is the problem. That is the secret minimalists know. It is not about having less. It is about needing less. You have a choice. You can live like everyone else, always consuming, always comparing. Or you can live with clarity, choosing what truly matters. That is the key. That is freedom. The weight of too much. Look around your room right now. How many things do you actually use? How many things just sit there, collecting dust, taking space, holding your energy hostage? Every object you keep speaks to your mind. It reminds you of something unfinished. It whispers a silent demand. That pile of clothes says, sort me. That drawer says, clean me. That shelf says, fix me. And all those whispers become noise in your head. That is why you feel overwhelmed even when you do nothing. Because your environment speaks, even when you stay silent. The more you own, the more you manage. The more you manage, the less you live. Minimalism is not about losing. It is about releasing. You are not throwing away life. You are making space for it. The discipline of enough. Most people think minimalism is a trend. It is not. It is a mindset. It is discipline. It is the courage to say, this is enough. You do not need 100 outfits. You need confidence. You do not need 10 pairs of shoes. You need direction. You do not need more decoration. You need purpose. You think abundance comes from having more. But true abundance comes from needing less. When you stop needing everything, you start appreciating something. That is power. That is clarity. Minimalism is not about poverty. It is about priority. It is not about what you remove. It is about what you keep. You keep peace. You keep focus. You keep purpose. Everything else can go. The mental shift. Minimalism starts in your mind before it shows in your room. You can declutter your space. But if your thoughts are messy, you will fill it again. So start inside. Ask yourself this: what do I really need? Do I need this thought? Do I need this fear? Do I need this habit? Because your mind collects clutter too. Old beliefs. Useless worries. People who drain you. Dreams that no longer fit who you are. Let them go. Every time you let go, you grow lighter. Every time you grow lighter, you see clearer. That is the path. That is how peace begins. Minimalism is not about cleaning your shelf. It is about clearing your soul. When your inside is clean, your outside follows. When your mind is clear, your life becomes calm. The power of choice. Minimalism gives you back your power to choose. You start asking better questions. Do I really want this? Does this bring me peace or pressure? Am I buying this to fill space or to fill self-worth? That is awareness. That is maturity. Because when you stop buying to prove, you start buying to improve. When you stop collecting, you start connecting. You start noticing what matters. You start feeling enough. You realize you were never missing things. You were missing space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to live. That is what minimalism gives. Freedom in simplicity. You do not need to chase more. You need to cherish what already is. Real-world minimalism. Let us make it practical. Start small. Pick one drawer, one shelf, one area of your life. Take everything out. Ask one question: do I need this? If it does not serve your peace or your purpose, let it go. You will feel it. The air will shift. The energy will change. The weight will drop. Because every item you remove, removes one worry. Every object you release, returns one breath. Then move deeper. Declutter your schedule. Say no more often. Say yes only when it matters. Do less. Do it better. Do it with peace. Declutter your relationships. Keep people who lift you. Release people who drain you. Declutter your goals. Stop chasing 10 things. Master one. That is how you build real focus. That is how you win. You do not need to fill your time. You need to protect your energy. You do not need to please everyone. You need to respect yourself. That is minimalism in action. That is how less becomes power. The abundance in simplicity. Here is the paradox. When you live with less, life gives you more. More freedom. More focus. More creativity. More gratitude. Because your mind is no longer busy managing chaos. It is now free to create clarity. You stop surviving. You start designing. You begin to see beauty in small things. A quiet morning. a simple meal, a slow walk. You realize, these are not small. These are everything. Minimalism is not about cutting life. It is about clearing noise so you can feel life. When you choose less, you see more. When you carry less, you move faster. When you need less, you sleep better. That is not loss. That is liberation. Breaking the myth. People will say, minimalism is boring. They are wrong. It is not boring. It is peaceful. It is not empty. It is full of space, full of clarity, full of calm. You do not need to throw everything away. You just need to stop holding what holds you back. You can live simple and still be successful. You can live calm and still be powerful. Minimalism is not weakness. It is strength under control. Because it takes power to say no. It takes confidence to choose enough. It takes awareness to stop chasing. That is the minimalist's secret. Less is not lack. Less is mastery. Your transformation. Here is what you must do now. Simplify your space. Simplify your choices. Simplify your mind. Say no to noise. Say yes to meaning. Say yes to peace. Each time you release something, say this: I am not losing. I am clearing. You will feel the difference. You will think clearer. You will breathe easier. You will focus deeper. And soon you will understand, minimalism is not about less stuff. It is about more life. You have a choice. Stay buried under the weight of things, or rise above and live light. That is the power of enough. That is the minimalist's secret. Closing thought. You now understand the art of choosing enough. You now see how less becomes more. You now know, peace begins when clutter ends. You mastered your surroundings. You simplified your world. Now, it is time to go deeper. Because the outside world is only half the battle. The real noise lives inside you. Let us talk about that. Let us talk about the storm of thoughts that never stops. Chapter 6. The Energy of Money. Money is energy. It moves. It flows. It responds to how you think, feel, and act. Most people never see that. They see paper. They see numbers. They see stress. But money is not paper. It is not metal. It is movement. It flows where attention goes. That is the secret most people never learn. If your energy is fearful, your money becomes tight. If your energy is grateful, your money becomes abundant. If your energy is clear, your money flows smoothly. You do not attract money by chasing it. You attract it by aligning with it. You have a choice. You can live in lack. Or you can live in flow. You can hold with fear. Or you can share with trust. That is the energy of money. Money mirrors your mind. Look at your relationship with money. It tells your story. If you feel anxious when you spend, it means fear leads your choices. If you feel guilty when you save, it means you fear scarcity. If you ignore your money, it means you fear responsibility. Money does not create fear. Money reveals it. You think your problem is income. But often, the problem is energy. You want more, but you vibrate in lack. You want abundance, but you speak in fear. Every thought you have about money carries energy. I never have enough. I am always behind. I cannot save. Those sentences are not harmless. They are instructions. And money follows them. That is why awareness is power. You cannot fix what you deny. You must look at your beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about money? Do I believe I am worthy of it? Do I believe there is enough for everyone? Do I believe I can handle more? Because your beliefs build your bank. The flow principle. Money flows like water. It needs direction. It needs purpose. It needs motion. When you let it flow through gratitude, it returns multiplied. When you block it with fear, it stops. Think of a river. If you hold too tight, the water stagnates. If you release too freely, the river dries. But when you guide it, it nourishes everything it touches. That is how money works. You must give it meaning. You must give it flow. When you use money with awareness, it becomes energy that expands. When you use it with fear, it becomes energy that contracts. That is the key. That is the truth. Money follows emotion. Money listens to your intention. Gratitude multiplies wealth. Gratitude is the magnet of abundance. It tells the universe, I already have enough. And because you feel enough, you attract more. When you pay your bills, say thank you. Thank you for the power that lights your room. Thank you for the water that fills your glass. Thank you for the home that shelters you. You are not losing money. You are circulating energy. Each payment is not punishment. It is participation in the flow of life. The more grateful you are for what you already have, the more open you become to receive. Because gratitude shifts your vibration from lack to love. You have a choice. You can spend with fear, or you can spend with faith. Fear says, what if I run out? Faith says, more will come. That is the difference between the poor in spirit and the rich in peace. Awareness creates control. You cannot master money you ignore. Avoidance is not control. Awareness is. Most people do not track their money. They spend without seeing. They swipe without thinking. They earn without planning. Then they say, money controls me. But money is not in control. Your lack of awareness is. Every time you ignore your bank, you weaken your power. Every time you look, you strengthen it. So look. Face the numbers. Face the truth. Face your habits. Do not fear the mirror. It does not judge you. It teaches you. You must know where your money goes. Because where your money goes, your life flows. That is the key. Awareness creates direction. Direction creates peace. Intention directs flow. Every dollar you spend has a purpose. The question is, do you choose it, or does it choose you? When you spend without intention, you leak energy. You give power to impulse, not purpose. Ask yourself before every purchase, why am I buying this? Is it peace or pressure? Is it need or noise? Is it habit or happiness? That question changes everything. When you spend with intention, you spend with strength. Because you are not reacting. You are responding. That is maturity. That is discipline. You do not need to cut all spending. You just need to choose with consciousness. Buy less. Value more. Invest in what grows you. That is how money serves you, not traps you. The emotion of money. Money carries the energy you give it. If you earn it with anger, it feels heavy. If you earn it with purpose, it feels light. If you spend it in guilt, it disappears. If you spend it in joy, it circulates. You feel it. You know it. There are times when you buy something cheap, but it feels rich. There are times when you buy something expensive, but it feels empty. That is not coincidence. That is energy. You are not just spending money. You are spending emotion. You are spending focus. You are spending identity. That is why money management begins with emotion management. Calm mind. Clear choices. Strong flow. That is the foundation of financial peace. The spiritual side of money. Money does not make you spiritual or shallow. It amplifies what you already are. If you are generous, money makes you more generous. If you are fearful, money makes you more fearful. If you are wise, money multiplies your wisdom. That is why energy matters more than income. You can earn a little, but feel abundant. You can earn a lot, but live in fear. Abundance is a feeling before it becomes a figure. When you align your heart, your habits, and your money, you stop fighting with it. You start flowing with it. You stop chasing. You start choosing. You stop waiting for wealth. You start living wealthy. Because wealth is not what you have. It is how you hold it. That is the power of awareness. That is the energy of money. Breaking the scarcity spell. Most people live under a spell. It is called scarcity. They believe there is never enough. Not enough time. Not enough opportunity. Not enough money. So they grab. They rush. They compare. And the more they chase, the more they lose. Scarcity is a mindset. It does not live in your bank. It lives in your belief. You can earn double and still feel poor. You can own little and still feel free. The difference is not money. It is meaning. So stop saying, "I cannot afford this." Start saying, "This is not my priority." That one sentence changes your relationship with wealth. Because you take back power. You take back control. That is the cure to scarcity: awareness, gratitude, and choice. Your financial energy practice. Let us make it practical. Start each day with gratitude for what you already have. Look at your wallet. Say thank you for every note. Say thank you for your income. Say thank you for the food you buy. Say thank you for every exchange. Then, track your flow. Know what comes in. Know what goes out. Spend with awareness. Give with joy. Save with purpose. Do not chase money. Channel it. You are not meant to serve money. Money is meant to serve you. When your energy is clean, money becomes clear. When your energy is calm, money becomes consistent. That is how abundance works. That is how wealthy minds think. You have a choice. Be the victim of your wallet, or be the master of your energy. Closing thought. Money is not mystery. It is movement. It follows focus. It mirrors mindset. You learned that gratitude expands it. Awareness guides it. Intention multiplies it. Now it is time to go deeper. Because money is not the final goal. It is only a reflection of something greater. Energy. Attention. Life. You learned how to align your flow. Now, let us master how to build your future. Chapter 7. When to spend and when to save. Timing is power. That is where wisdom lives. Most people do not understand this truth. They think saving is always smart. They think spending is always bad. But that is not true. Money is not good or bad. It is a mirror. It reflects your choices. You have to know when to move and when to hold back. You have to know when to plant and when to harvest. That is how wealth works. That is how life works. Most people live in reaction. They get money, they spend. They feel pressure, they save. They live without rhythm, without awareness. You have to break that pattern. You have to learn the rhythm of money. Because money has seasons. And each season demands a different action. When the season of growth comes, you invest. When the season of rest comes, you protect. When opportunity knocks, you act. When the storm hits, you hold. That is timing. That is mastery. You cannot control the world. But you can control your choices. That is the key. You cannot control prices. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control luck. But you can control discipline. And discipline is what builds your timing. Every financial mistake begins with emotion. Fear makes you save too much. Ego makes you spend too fast. Both destroy balance. Money responds to logic, not panic. It grows with clarity, not chaos. So before you spend, pause. Before you save, think. Ask yourself one question: why now? Timing is not about luck. It is about alignment. If your spending supports your purpose, it is power. If it feeds your ego, it is poison. You have to learn the difference. Buying a course to grow your skills, that is an investment. Buying a new phone to show off, that is a trap. Saving for your freedom, that is strength. Saving because you fear the world, that is prison. The reason behind the action matters more than the action itself. That is the secret. That is the difference between the rich and the trapped. People think rich people just spend freely. But they are wrong. The rich do not waste, they allocate. They do not chase, they choose. They spend when the return is clear. They save when patience has value. They know money has a rhythm. They dance with it. They do not fight it. You can do the same. You just need awareness. Before every purchase, ask, does this move me forward, or does this hold me back? Does this make me better, or just make me look better? Does this help my vision, or just feed my emotion? Ask, then act. That is how you time your money. That is how you gain control. Let us talk about spending first. Spending is not bad. It is neutral. But it becomes powerful when it builds your future. Spend on your mind. Spend on your skills. Spend on your health. Spend on your peace. Every dollar that builds you is a good dollar. Every dollar that builds your image is a lost one. Stop trying to look rich. Start trying to be rich. That is the mindset shift. You do not need their approval. You need your own respect. You have a choice. Spend on growth, not validation. Now let us talk about saving. Saving is not about fear. It is about focus. You save because you have a plan. You save because you respect time. You save because you want control, not panic. Saving is building stability. It is giving your future self peace. But remember, saving alone will not make you free. It will only make you safe. And safety without purpose becomes stagnation. Do not let saving become a cage. Let it be a tool. Use it to create freedom, not fear. You have to balance the two. Spend when it expands you. Save when it protects you. That is harmony. That is timing. Think of your money like water. If you store it all, it becomes stale. If you pour it all out, it disappears. You must let it flow with purpose. Flow toward your goals. Flow toward your growth. Flow toward your peace. Do not waste money on noise. Do not hoard it out of fear. Keep it moving, but moving with meaning. That is what wise people do. They move money like energy. They direct it, not react to it. You must also learn to sense opportunity. Opportunity does not shout. It whispers. And only those who are ready can hear it. When your skills align with a chance, that is your moment. When your preparation meets a door, that is timing. That is when spending becomes power. But if you are unprepared, even the best deal becomes a mistake. That is why you train your awareness. That is why you build patience. Patience gives you the right timing. And the right timing gives you wealth. You cannot force it. You cannot rush it. You prepare, you wait, you move. That is how winners operate. That is how peace replaces pressure. There will be seasons where you must hold. Where spending feels tempting, but silence is smarter. And there will be seasons where saving feels safe, but risk is right. Wisdom is knowing the difference. Discipline is acting on it. When you see growth, feed it. When you see chaos, pause. When you see clarity, invest. When you see confusion, protect. This is timing. This is mastery. You have a choice every day. Spend with purpose, or spend for pleasure. Save with intention, or save from fear. Each choice builds your financial destiny. Each choice writes your story. The truth is simple. Money is not about math. It is about emotion. And emotion without awareness destroys rhythm. Your job is not to control the market. Your job is to control yourself. You must build a calm mind. You must build emotional control. Because when you are calm, you see timing clearly. When you are emotional, you always pay the price. That is the real lesson. That is the power of awareness. You are not meant to live in guilt for spending. You are meant to spend like a strategist. You are not meant to fear saving. You are meant to save like a builder. Both are tools. Both are weapons. It is how you use them that defines your future. Never forget that. You have a choice. You have control. You have the power to time your money with wisdom. Because timing is power. And power comes from awareness. You learned how to master rhythm. You learned how to act with purpose. You learned how to make money your servant, not your stress. Now, it is time to go deeper. You learned when to spend and when to save. Next, you will learn how to build wealth that lasts beyond time. You mastered awareness. Now, Let us master expansion. Chapter 8: Financial Peace over Financial Flex. Social media glorifies luxury. But peace? Peace is the real luxury. Today, the world claps for noise. It claps for cars, for watches, for vacations, for brands. But no one claps for calm. No one claps for the man who sleeps debt-free. No one claps for the woman who lives quietly, but peacefully. Yet that is where true wealth lives, in silence. You see the world differently when you stop chasing flex. You stop caring who is watching. You start caring who you are becoming. That is the shift. That is maturity. The poor show off what they buy. The rich protect what they build. And the wise? They protect their peace. You have to decide what you really want. Do you want attention, or do you want freedom? Because you cannot have both. Attention demands performance. Freedom demands peace. Choose wisely. Most people are broke because they try to look rich. They spend to impress, not to progress. They live for the next post, not the next plan. You have seen it. The new phone. The designer shoes. The weekend trip. The rented car. All for a picture. All for validation. All for likes that mean nothing. But after the post fades, the payment stays. After the story ends, the stress begins. That is the truth no one shows. Peace is not in your outfit. Peace is not in your car. Peace is not in your view. Peace lives inside your habits. Peace lives in how you manage your money. Peace lives in how you make decisions. Peace lives in the space between your needs and your ego. You have a choice every day, flex or freedom. Flex fades. Freedom lasts. That is the key. That is the difference between wealth and performance. Financial peace is not boring. It is powerful. It means you do not need to prove anything. You do not need applause. You do not need comparison. It means you can say no without guilt. You can rest without fear. You can breathe without pretending. That is wealth. That is peace. The loudest people online are often the most insecure. They use things to hide emptiness. They use brands to build identity. But you? You do not need that. You do not need to flex. You need to focus. Let us be honest. Luxury is easy to fake. Peace is not. Peace cannot be bought. Peace must be built. You build it by choosing discipline over drama. You build it by choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. You build it by saying, I do not need to prove anything. Because you do not. You have a choice. You can choose calm over chaos. You can choose progress over performance. That is your power. Financial peace begins with clarity. Clarity about what matters. Clarity about what drains you. Clarity about what you truly need. Ask yourself, what actually makes you happy? Is it a car or a clear mind? Is it likes or peace of mind? Is it noise or freedom? Most people chase comfort and call it happiness. But comfort fades. Peace stays. You cannot find peace in comparison. You find it in control. To live with peace, you must reject pressure. Reject the pressure to prove. Reject the pressure to compete. Reject the pressure to spend like others. Because they are not living your life. They are not paying your bills. They are not carrying your stress. So stop performing for them. Stop building their opinion at the cost of your freedom. You do not owe the world an image. You owe yourself inner stability. That is the truth most people ignore. Debt kills peace. It steals your sleep. It chains your choices. Every time you finance your ego, you mortgage your future. Every time you borrow for show, you delay your freedom. You have to stop digging. You have to start building. Say no to payments that prove nothing. Say yes to savings that protect everything. It is not about being cheap. It is about being free. You do not need more things. You need more space. You do not need new brands. You need new boundaries. That is what peace looks like. Financial peace means control. It means your bills do not scare you. It means your savings protect you. It means your money listens to you, not the other way around. That is power. That is security. That is success. You have a choice. You can live for likes, or you can live for legacy. You can build for applause, or you can build for peace. Every purchase asks you a question. Do you want to impress, or do you want to progress? Answer wisely. Let us be clear. You cannot flex your way into peace. You cannot buy peace with payments. You cannot earn peace through envy. Peace is earned through planning. Peace is earned through patience. Peace is earned through priorities. Spend less on status. Spend more on self. Spend less on things that fade. Spend more on things that last. Peace is not about what you own. It is about what you can walk away from. The next time you see someone flex online, remember this. You are not behind. You are just walking a different path. Your peace is not loud. It is quiet. It is steady. It is strong. When you have peace, you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, you start creating. That is where wealth grows. That is where fulfillment lives. You have a choice every day. Buy the lie, or build your life. Choose building. Choose peace. Do you know the real flex? It is waking up without debt. It is knowing your bills are paid. It is knowing your mind is clear. It is knowing you do not owe anyone anything. That is freedom. That is peace. That is power. You do not need their approval. You do not need to compete. You just need to live with balance, awareness, and purpose. Because the goal is not to look rich. The goal is to feel rich. The goal is not to impress. The goal is to rest. That is peace. That is wealth. So remember this. Luxury fades. Peace compounds. Flex costs. Peace pays. It is not about how much you spend. It is about how well you sleep. It is not about who notices your life. It is about how you feel living it. You have a choice. Keep chasing the noise, or choose the quiet truth. Because peace is the highest profit. That is the lesson. That is the shift. You mastered timing. Now you mastered peace. You learned when to spend, when to save, and now, why to stop showing off. But there is one more truth you must face. Peace does not last without purpose. And purpose is what gives money direction. So let us move forward. You found peace. Now, it is time to create purpose. Chapter 9. The Wealth of Simplicity. Simplicity is power. Not weakness. Not lack. Not boredom. Real power comes when you make your life simple. Because simple is clear. And clarity creates control. Most people think wealth means adding more. More work. More deals. More things. More movement. But real wealth begins when you remove what drains you. The noise. The clutter. The chaos. Simplicity is not about cutting back. It is about cutting noise. That is the key. You do not need more. You need less, but better. Look around. The world is addicted to complexity. People chase hacks, trends, and systems. They try to manage 5 accounts, 3 cards, and 10 subscriptions. They call it success. But it is not. It is confusion. Confusion kills clarity. And when you lose clarity, you lose control. Wealth does not need to be complex. Wealth needs to be consistent. That is the truth. You have a choice. You can live in noise, or you can live in order. Order creates peace. Peace creates focus. Focus creates wealth. That is the flow. When your financial life is simple, your mind is light. You can think clearly. You can act fast. You can grow steady. You are not chasing, you are choosing. You are not reacting, you are responding. That is power. Ask yourself this. How many of your decisions are based on habit, not purpose? How many things do you own that add no value? How many bills do you pay for things you never use? Each one drains you. Each one takes a piece of your focus. Simplicity gives it back. It returns your time. It returns your peace. That is wealth. When you simplify your money, you free your mind. You see patterns clearly. You see progress faster. You see purpose again. But to do that, you must let go. Let go of extra accounts. Let go of useless spending. Let go of chasing every shiny thing that screams investment. Because not everything that grows is good. Some things grow weeds. Your money needs space to breathe. Your mind needs space to think. That is the secret. Simplicity is not minimalism alone. It is intelligence. It is the discipline to say enough. Enough subscriptions. Enough cards. Enough stress. When you say enough, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. That is the shift. That is where true wealth begins. The richest people are not the busiest. They are the calmest. Because they built systems, not storms. They know what goes in. They know what goes out. Nothing leaks. Nothing hides. That is why they sleep well. That is why their wealth compounds quietly. You can do the same. You do not need complexity to look smart. You need simplicity to stay strong. Let me tell you something important. Complexity is a form of insecurity. People use complexity to feel important. They say things like, I trade here, I invest there, I follow these 5 systems. It sounds smart. It feels powerful. But it is a trap. They are not mastering wealth. They are managing chaos. You have a choice. You can build something that looks clever, or something that actually works. Choose what works. Choose simple. Simplicity builds speed. When your money is simple, you move faster. You make decisions without fear. You track progress without confusion. Every dollar has a job. Every expense has a reason. Every goal has a deadline. That is how wealth grows. Not through magic. Through management. And management works best when it is simple enough to repeat. Let us get practical. Simplify your accounts. Keep one main spending account. Keep one savings account. Keep one investment account. That is enough for most people. You do not need 5 apps, 10 wallets, and 20 cards. You need control. Automate your payments. Automate your savings. Automate your investments. Stop touching your money every hour. Let systems protect your discipline. That is how the wealthy think. They simplify, then automate, then duplicate. That is their secret. Simplicity also means emotional control. When your life is simple, your emotions are calm. You are not chasing the next sale. You are not comparing with others. You are not reacting to every new trend. You know your plan. You trust your system. You stay patient. Because simplicity is not fast. It is steady. And steady always wins. Wealth loves structure. It hates chaos. The more moving parts you have, the more leaks you create. Every leak drains you, slowly, silently, consistently. Simplicity seals the leaks. It protects what you earn. It multiplies what you keep. You cannot grow if your focus is scattered. You cannot build if your time is divided. You must simplify to amplify. That is the rule. People think success is about doing more. It is not. It is about doing less, better. You do not need 10 goals. You need one clear direction. You do not need to say yes to everything. You need to say no to what does not align. Every no buys back energy. Every no buys back focus. That is how you grow faster. By doing fewer things deeply. Think about this. When your phone has too many apps, it slows down. When your life has too many plans, it does too. The mind is not built for clutter. It is built for clarity. So clear your space. Clean your habits. Simplify your choices. Wealth is not hiding in more. It is hiding in less. Remember this line. Complexity impresses people. Simplicity impresses results. It is not about looking smart. It is about staying free. You have a choice. You can chase status, or you can chase stability. Choose stability, because noise fades, but structure stays. You do not need to know everything about money. You just need to master a few things. Earn wisely. Spend consciously. Save consistently. Invest patiently. That is enough. That is simplicity in motion. Do not overthink it. Do not overcomplicate it. Just stay consistent. That is what builds wealth. That is what creates peace. You are not missing out. You are simplifying. You are not cutting back. You are cutting noise. Every time you simplify, you create space for more clarity. Every time you remove what drains you, you give power to what sustains you. That is growth. That is mastery. The wealth of simplicity is not measured in dollars. It is measured in freedom. Freedom to think. Freedom to choose. Freedom to live without chaos. That is real wealth. That is lasting wealth. Simplicity is not the end of ambition. It is the beginning of peace. It is the foundation where smart decisions grow. You have a choice. Build noise or build clarity. Complicate life or create order. Choose order, because simplicity is strength, and strength is what sustains success. You mastered peace. Now you understand simplicity. But peace and simplicity alone are not enough. They need purpose. They need direction. Because wealth without direction dies in distraction, and focus without meaning fades in time. So let us go deeper. You simplified your life. Now, it is time to strengthen your mindset. Chapter 10. The Compounding Effect of Wise Choices. Every choice has a price, and every choice has a reward. You are paying or earning every single day, not just in money, but in time, in focus, in peace. That is the truth. Every small choice compounds. Every dollar saved or wasted compounds. That is how life works. That is how wealth is built or destroyed. The problem is simple. People think only big choices matter. They ignore the small ones. But the small ones build your entire future. You do not go broke in one day. You go broke one small decision at a time. A coffee here. A gadget there. A little swipe of the card, again and again. Until your future is gone. That is the danger. You trade long-term power for short-term comfort. You trade freedom for impulse. You trade peace for pleasure. You have a choice. That is the key. Wise choices do not shout. They whisper. They come in small moments. They come when no one is watching. They come when you ask yourself, do I really need this? That is where wealth begins. Not in earning more, but in choosing better. Every time you choose discipline, you compound strength. Every time you choose patience, you compound peace. Every time you choose awareness, you compound wisdom. Money follows that same law. It grows in silence. It grows through time. It grows through trust. But you must let it grow. You must stop killing it with careless decisions. Look at the people who live with ease. They did not get lucky. They got consistent. They made one good decision and then repeated it 1,000 times. That is how real wealth is born. Not from a jackpot. Not from a miracle. From habits. From attention. From quiet repetition. It is not about getting rich quick. It is about getting stable forever. Let me ask you this. Do you want your money to work for you? Or do you want to work for it forever? That is the choice. Every dollar you save today becomes a soldier. It works for you while you sleep. It earns. It grows. It compounds. But every dollar you waste today becomes your enemy. It works against you. It steals your future. It takes away your sleep. The rich understand this. They see money as energy. They respect it. They direct it. They use it with intention. The poor misuse it. They chase feelings. They spend before they earn. They live for today and fear tomorrow. It is not about luck. It is about pattern. The pattern of choice. The pattern of thought. The pattern of patience. You have that power too. You just forgot. Discipline compounds faster than dollars. When you save $1, you grow a habit. That habit will multiply into thousands. When you waste $1, you also grow a habit. That habit will multiply into regret. Your habits decide your horizon. That is the truth. If you delay pleasure now, you will multiply freedom later. If you chase pleasure now, you will multiply pain later. It is not punishment. It is math. It is energy. It is the law of compound choices. You see, you do not need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. You just need to stay aware. You just need to stop lying to yourself. Because every time you say, just this once, you teach your brain that excuses win. You lose power. You lose time. You lose peace. But when you say, not today, you teach your brain that strength wins. You grow discipline. You grow self-respect. You grow control. That is wealth. That is real success. Every wise choice pays interest. You may not see it today, but it is building something deep inside you. When you choose to save instead of spend, you build patience. When you choose to plan instead of panic, you build stability. When you choose to invest instead of impress, you build peace. The compounding effect is not just about money. It is about mindset. It is about the energy you send out every single day. You cannot control everything, but you can control your focus. You can control your habits. You can control your next choice. And that next choice can change everything. That is how transformation starts. Not with drama, not with noise, but with one quiet, powerful decision. Think about your past year. How many times did you buy things you did not need? How many times did you waste time, energy, or attention? That was compound loss. Now imagine if you had made one better choice each day. Read instead of scrolled. Saved instead of spent. Slept instead of stressed. Your life would look different. That is compound growth. That is power. Small choices, repeated daily, create massive results. That is the truth people ignore. They want big wins. They want fast results. But they forget, the greatest things grow slow. The strongest trees grow in silence. The same is true for wealth. The same is true for you. You cannot fake the compound effect. You either live it or lose to it. So what must you do? Start with awareness. Track your habits. Notice where your money goes. Notice where your time goes. Notice where your peace goes. Ask yourself daily, is this choice adding power or draining power? If it adds power, do it again. If it drains power, stop. That is the formula. You do not need to change everything. You just need to change the direction. Move 1 degree closer to discipline, and your future will explode with abundance. That is how the compounding effect works. It rewards the patient. It punishes the reckless. It multiplies what you do most. If you waste time, you will lose more time. If you invest time, you will gain more life. If you waste energy, you will feel empty. If you direct energy, you will feel unstoppable. It all compounds. Always. You have a choice. You can keep saying someday. Or you can start today. You can keep chasing quick pleasure. Or you can build lasting power. One path gives comfort. The other gives freedom. Choose freedom. Choose control. Choose growth. That is the key. Because wise choices today create invisible momentum tomorrow. That momentum becomes wealth. That wealth becomes peace. That peace becomes power. You are building your future, one decision at a time. Make those decisions count. Make them wise. Make them intentional. And remember this. Discipline compounds faster than luck. Consistency compounds faster than talent. Awareness compounds faster than income. That is how real freedom is born. Not in noise, but in patience. Not in luck, but in wisdom. Not in someday, but in today. You have a choice. That is the key. Choose wisely, because your next choice is your next life. Transition. You now understand the power of compounding. You now see how small wise choices create massive peace and freedom. But there is one more level. It is not just about building wealth. It is about protecting it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have mastered the power of wise decisions. Now let us talk about the final transformation, the wealth that no money can buy. Chapter 11. The Silent Millionaire Mindset. Rich people do not talk about money. They think differently about it. They move differently around it. They respect it. They protect it. They grow it, quietly. That is the secret most never learn. Because most people are busy looking rich, instead of becoming rich. Silence is their strategy. Focus is their weapon. Time is their best friend. You have a choice. You can chase attention, or you can build freedom. You cannot do both. That is the truth. The silent millionaire is not loud. They are calm. They are measured. They make small moves with big purpose. They do not post their goals. They live them. They do not talk about success. They practice it. They do not chase noise. They chase growth. They understand one law. Energy grows where attention goes. If you waste attention, you lose power. If you focus attention, you gain wealth. That is the key. The silent millionaire mindset is built on patience. It is built on purpose. It is built on inner control. They know that money is not power. Discipline is. They know that status is not strength. Stability is. They know that luxury is not freedom. Peace is. You see, money is not the goal. Money is a mirror. It reflects your habits. It reveals your focus. It exposes your relationship with time. The loud ones use money to fill emptiness. The silent ones use money to multiply purpose. You have a choice. Which one are you becoming? The silent millionaire does not live for approval. They live for alignment. They drive simple cars. They wear normal clothes. They walk quietly, but they move with direction. Every dollar has a job. Every decision has a purpose. Every investment has a story. They do not buy things to impress people. They buy assets to protect freedom. They do not rent happiness. They build it. They do not chase validation. They chase value. That is the difference. It is not about showing off. It is about showing up, daily. With focus. With patience. With peace. Most people think silence means weakness. They think quiet means boring. But silence is the highest form of control. Because when you are silent, you listen. You observe. You learn. The silent millionaire studies while others scroll. They invest while others waste. They plan while others panic. They build while others brag. They do not need the world to clap for them. Their peace is their applause. Their freedom is their reward. That is power. You have to understand this. Wealth is not built in noise. It is built in stillness. It is built in focus. It is built in solitude. Noise kills clarity. Clarity builds wealth. That is why the silent ones win. They stay out of drama. They stay out of comparison. They stay out of emotional spending. They are not driven by envy. They are driven by purpose. They do not compete with others. They compete with their old self. That is the key. If you want to become rich, learn to think like them. Stop chasing status. Start chasing strength. Stop talking about plans. Start executing them. Stop showing progress. Start making progress. The more silent your work becomes, the louder your results will sound. That is how power grows, quietly. Let us be clear. This is not about hiding success. It is about building it with integrity. Because when you make noise too early, you invite distraction. You invite judgment. You invite pressure. And pressure kills progress. When you protect your plans, you protect your peace. When you protect your peace, you protect your power. That is what silent millionaires understand. They play the long game. They let compounding do the talking. They let time do the proving. They do not rush success. They grow into it. Every decision they make follows one rule. Does this build me or break me? If it builds, they do it. If it breaks, they skip it. That is discipline. They spend where energy returns. They save where energy drains. They invest in skills. They invest in systems. They invest in silence. Because silence keeps them sharp. Silence keeps them grounded. Silence keeps them real. That is the mindset you must build. You see, the silent millionaire knows something most people ignore. Money is emotional energy. If your emotions are unstable, your money will be too. If you chase quick wins, you will lose long games. If you buy attention, you will sell peace. But if you stay calm, if you stay aware, if you stay patient, you will win without noise. That is the game. It is not about being seen. It is about being secure. It is not about being liked. It is about being free. You have a choice. Choose freedom. So what can you do? First, stop announcing. Start acting. Let your moves speak for you. Second, stop comparing. Your lane is your own. No one is behind you. No one is ahead of you. There is only you versus yesterday. Third, stop wasting. Every unnecessary expense is energy lost. Save that energy. Invest that energy. Fourth, build systems that grow without you. Let your money work while you rest. Let your habits build while you sleep. That is how you win. That is how you grow. Step by step. Quietly. Patiently. Consistently. And when you win, you will not need to tell anyone. They will feel it. They will see it in your peace. They will sense it in your calm. True wealth is energy. It has a frequency. You do not shout it. You live it. People who truly have it rarely speak of it. They know. Talking about it can take it away. Because the moment you make your life a show, you lose the control of your script. Stay silent. Stay grounded. Stay powerful. That is the mindset. That is the secret. Remember this. Loud wealth fades fast. Quiet wealth lasts forever. Luxury trends come and go. Discipline compounds forever. It is not about owning everything. It is about controlling yourself. It is not about flexing. It is about flowing. Be the calm in a noisy world. Be the focus in a distracted crowd. Be the silent millionaire in a culture that worships noise. That is how you protect your energy. That is how you protect your freedom. That is how you protect your future. You have a choice. Choose silence. Choose peace. Choose power. That is the key. Transition. You now understand the mindset of quiet wealth. You have learned that silence, patience, and focus create real freedom. But there is one more level. The level where wealth becomes legacy. Where money becomes mission. Where purpose replaces ego. You have mastered silence. Now, let us talk about meaning. Chapter 12. The Art of Enough. Enough. It is the most powerful word in wealth. Enough does not mean lack. It means freedom. It means control. It means peace. When you stop chasing more, you start living fully. That is the truth most never learn. Because the world trains you to chase. Chase the new phone. Chase the new car. Chase the next level. But no one teaches you to stop. To breathe. To say, this is enough. You see, wealth is not about numbers. It is about balance. It is not about more. It is about meaning. More is a trap. Enough is freedom. You can have all the money in the world and still feel poor because your mind never rests. Your hunger never sleeps. Your peace never comes. That is not wealth. That is slavery with a gold chain. The art of enough begins with awareness. It starts when you ask, what is enough for me? Not what society says. Not what your friends post. Not what the algorithm promotes. What is enough for you? Enough food to feel nourished. Enough rest to feel strong. Enough savings to feel safe. Enough love to feel grounded. That is wealth. That is power. You have a choice. You can live chasing more, or you can live enjoying enough. That is the key. The problem is not that people have too little. The problem is that people want too much. Desire never ends. You feed it once, and it asks for more. You give it all, and it still wants more. But gratitude stops the hunger. Gratitude whispers, I already have everything I need. And that changes everything. Because when you live in gratitude, you stop fighting with life. You stop comparing. You stop pretending. You start living. Enough does not mean small. It means aligned. It means intentional. It means you own your life, instead of life owning you. When you understand enough, you start choosing peace over pressure, simplicity over chaos, clarity over confusion. That is the art. That is the discipline. Because enough is not about the world outside. It is about the world inside. When your heart feels full, your wallet feels lighter, but your soul feels heavier with peace. That is real wealth. You have been taught that success means constant expansion. Bigger house, bigger goals, bigger brand. But what if real success is the ability to rest without guilt? The ability to say, I have enough. Think about it. You chase more to feel secure, but the chase itself makes you insecure. You buy more to feel happy, but the buying only brings emptiness. You earn more to feel worthy, but worth cannot be bought. That is the paradox of modern wealth. The more you get, the less you feel, until you learn the art of enough. Enough means control. It means you know when to stop. It means you can walk away, not because you failed, but because you are full. It means you own your decisions. Your money does not own you. Your ego does not lead you. You are no longer a servant of desire. You become a master of choice. That is power. That is peace. Most people do not need more income. They need less impulse. They need less distraction. They need less comparison. Because comparison kills satisfaction. It steals joy quietly. It replaces peace with pressure. You scroll. You see others. You think you are behind. But you are not behind. You are just distracted. You do not need their permission to rest. You do not need their lifestyle to be complete. You do not need their approval to be enough. You already are. That is the truth. The art of enough is a spiritual game. It teaches you to slow down, to look around, to say, this moment is wealth. The sunlight on your face, the laughter in your home, the meal on your table, the breath in your chest. That is wealth too. You just stopped noticing it. Enough is not just a number. It is a feeling, a vibration, a quiet certainty that says, I have all that I need right here. When you live in that space, you attract more, not from hunger, but from wholeness. That is the irony. When you stop chasing, you start receiving. That is the power of enough. So how do you practice it? Start small. Step 1. Pause before you buy. Ask, does this add peace or pressure? If it adds pressure, walk away. Step 2. Count blessings, not bills. What you focus on expands. Focus on lack. You get more lack. Focus on enough. You get more abundance. Step 3. Define your enough. Write it down. How much income is enough? How much space is enough? How much stuff is enough? Clarity brings calm. Step 4. Stop chasing lifestyle. Chase freedom instead. Freedom is quiet. Freedom is calm. Freedom is enough. That is your real goal. When you master enough, you master life. Because enough is not the end of ambition. It is the beginning of purpose. Once you stop chasing survival, you start creating meaning. You start giving. You start living for something beyond yourself. That is where true prosperity begins. Because the goal was never to have everything. The goal was to feel complete. You can be rich with little. If your heart is full, you can be poor with millions. If your soul is empty, that is the truth no one sells. Because peace cannot be marketed. Peace is built in silence. Peace is built in gratitude. Peace is built in knowing, I have enough. You have a choice. You can spend life chasing the next high, or you can live in peace right now. You can build your life on more, or you can build it on meaning. One path burns you out. The other fills you up. Choose wisely. Choose peace. Choose enough. Because enough is not less. Enough is more than enough. When you reach this level of understanding, money becomes simple. Success becomes calm. Life becomes light. You stop needing to prove anything. You stop needing to fight anything. You simply are. That is real wealth. That is real freedom. It is not about chasing. It is about cherishing. It is not about earning more time. It is about enjoying the time you have. It is not about owning the world. It is about owning your peace. That is the art of enough. You now understand the full circle of wealth. You began with the illusion of riches. You discovered the truth of value. You learned the power of silence. And now you end with the wisdom of peace. Enough is not the end of ambition. It is the start of balance. It is the place where you stop surviving and start living. You have learned the art of money. You have learned the energy of purpose. Now you know the final truth. You were never chasing money. You were chasing meaning. And now, you have found it. Enough. Closing. You have mastered the art of spending wisely. You have learned to think, save, and live with purpose. You now know, wealth is not about more. It is about enough. Thank you for walking this journey through the art of spending money, simple choices for a richer life. Now go live it. Quietly. Purposefully. Powerfully. Because real wealth is peace. And peace begins when you say, this is enough.